Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a dimension-bending, media-mixing, action-packed thrill ride that tells the origin story of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man like you've never seen before. And this tricked-out flick has got more surprises than Dre's got beats. Alright people, let's do this one last time. Check out the scene as Peter B. Parker, voiced by Jake Johnson, and Miles try to escape the Alchemax building. The two have attracted a crowd of scientists, most of whom are packing heat in pursuit. As they make their way outside, Miles throws a bagel at an employee, and when it hits, you can clearly see the word bagel. Definitely more effective than bump or plop. Real quick, I love the fact that the bagel was always part of the plan. But also, check out the scene when all the scientists draw on Peter and Miles. There's that one scientist who just can't even. Hilarious. Mondays, am I right? You might be wondering why I felt the need to mention Peter's middle initial. Well, that's kind of the beauty of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You see, Peter B. Parker is a Spider-Man, but not the Spider-Man. At least not of this dimension. Our Spider-Man starts the film off and is voiced by Chris Pine. But, contrary to what Spider-Pine says, there are more than just the one and only Spider-Man. There's about to be another one thanks to a radioactive spider that bites Miles during an underground tag sesh with his Uncle Aaron. Uncle Aaron is performed by Mahershala Ali, but more on him later. When Miles comes face-to-face with Peter no middle initial Parker, he's busy trying to thwart an evil scheme headed up by Kingpin to open an interdimensional portal. When that portal opens, things get trippy as multiple dimensions converge onto our own. Look, I know it's not our own. What I mean is it's the primary dimension in the movie that we follow, so just trying to keep the mind-muckery to a minimum. Anyway, in a nutshell, we lose Spider-Man, Miles must take up his mantle, and he does so with the help of the other dimension's Spider-People. Roll call, Peter B. Parker. We already know about him. Parker's middle name is Benjamin, by the way, after his Uncle Ben. We also get Spider-Man Noir, which is voiced by Nick Cage. Did you know that Nick Cage is a comic book superfan? Aside from his awesome turns as superheroes Ghost Rider and Big Daddy, he named one of his sons Kal-El. DC fans will no doubt recognize that name as Superman's Kryptonian birth name. So, Spider-Man Noir comes from a universe very much inspired by the noir and gangster films of the 1930s. He even sports the speech patterns of that time's film greats like Humphrey Bogart, Edward G. Robinson, and James Cagney. Next up, Spider-Ham? Yeah, that's right. Not to be confused with Spider-Pig, Homer's fantasy alter ego for his pet pig Plopper. In the Simpsons movie, Spider-Ham belongs to an alternate dimension where all Marvel heroes are anthropomorphic animal versions of our reality. Anthropomorphic. That's a big word for meaning has human characteristics. Spider-Ham is voiced by comedian John Mulaney. Ham might seem new to you, but did you know that Spider-Ham had his own comic series and debuted back in 1983? Guess that makes him pretty long in the snout. From Peter Porker to Penny Parker. She's an anime-inspired female version of Peter who got bitten by a spider and through their psychic link is able to control a mech-like robot version of Spider-Man. Pretty cool. Penny is voiced by Orange is the New Black actress Kimiko Glenn. Last but not least, we have Gwen Stacy, played by Haley Steinfeld. You might know Haley from the Transformers Bumblebee movie, Pitch Perfect 3, or maybe from her impressive feature debut in the Coen brothers reimagining of the Western classic True Grit. Gwen is a staple in the Spider-Man mythos, but did you know that there's an alternate universe where she dons the Spidey suit? Like the others, that Gwen finds herself in our universe, and I think it's safe to say that Miles is pretty stuck on her. Oh yeah, Spidey pun. Super intended. So, as you can tell, Miles has a lot of work ahead of him. As a superhero, he is tripping up all over the place. Literally. Maybe it has something to do with his shoelaces. Notice how they're always untied? His dad mentions it. A new girl at school calls him out. Spider-Man even takes some time out of fighting the Green Goblin to say something. You'd think it was an important detail. Actually, it is. When Miles starts training solo, he trips on his own shoelace and breaks the goober in his fall. The goober, of course, is Peter B. Parker, and surprisingly Aunt May's term for the override key that Miles needs to destroy Kingpin's collider. Thanks to that collider, Miles isn't the only trippy thing going on around town. Strange anomalies pop up after its test run. Also, Miles' spider peeps glitch out every once in a while, and if they don't get back to their home dimensions, they're guaranteed a horrible death. Harsh. Even from the Columbia Studios opening logo, you know things are going to be different. It's true, the studio has had some fun with its torch-bearing heroine in the past, but for Intro to the Spider-Verse, she glitches out as if other universes are colliding with our current one. Foreshadowing much? At one point, she becomes an animated cowgirl, but not just any cowgirl. Fans of the legendary Jane Fonda will remember this cowgirl from the Columbia opening of the 1965 comedy western Cat Ballou, in which Fonda plays the title character who becomes an outlaw in order to save her family farm. Also, for a split second, it looks like she's been knocked off her pedestal by a giant banana. What is this? Some reference to pop artist Andy Warhol? Not quite. Fans of the 2009 film adaptation of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs will recall that Lady Columbia endured the same exact fate at the top of that flick. We even get to see a comic book interpretation of the model. This style will take over for the rest of the movie. Art directors Dean Gordon and Patrick O'Keefe designed Into the Spider-Verse to feel like a living, breathing, full-motion comic book. In fact, each frame of CGI has some form of hand-drawn art added to it to give the movie that illustrated look. What's more, the filmmakers even incorporated the Comics Code seal of authority before the movie begins. Did the filmmakers actually have to get approval for the seal? Nah, as it turns out, the Comics Code Authority, or CCA, became defunct in 2011. But the art directors felt that it added a certain level of authenticity, as the vast majority of comic books since 1954 sported that seal on their covers. Speaking of covers, listen to Miles trying to flow along with the Post Malone Sway Lee hit Sunflower. He's not quite with the lyrics all the time, but did you know that that was by design? In order to keep things PG up in this flick, he covers up specific lyrics with "She Wanna Drive Me." I'd get more specific about those lyrics myself, but hey, consider this vid PG too. While we're looking at this shot, pay attention to the background. Notice how there's kind of a weird ghosting effect, like the print is out of alignment. Yet Miles Morales, voiced by Shameik Moore by the way, looks super clean and sharp. Yep, that's no accident, just another ingenious touch by the filmmakers to adapt the medium of print into the world of film. They decided to use the properties of the CMYK offset, a printing color process as if it were the bokeh or blur effect of a camera. Just like focus is used to direct your eye to what's important in a shot, the skewing of the color layers do the same thing in this movie. It's a motion comic using cinematic language. Boom! Mind blown. Kablam! Pow! Bam! In the comics world, these impact words are highlighted and designed for maximum effect in action sequences. They were also made famous for their use in the Batman television series starring Adam West and Burt Ward as the Caped Crusader and his sidekick chum Robin. Into the Spider-Verse puts them to stronger use, not just highlighting sound effects, but adding a bit of humor as well. Did you know that for the glitch effects, Gordon and O'Keefe leaned heavily on a specific avant-garde art movement for inspiration? They felt that Cubism was the perfect well to draw from, because Cubist art presents multiple different views at one time, making it a natural fit to symbolize the clashing of multiple universes. Part of the fun for the filmmakers was creating a world similar enough to lure fans in with a false sense of comfort, only to blow their minds with twists and turns they hadn't anticipated. Remember, our world isn't exactly our world. For instance, check out the ads plastered on the wall of the Kissland album by The Weeknd. Fans of The Weeknd should feel their spidey sense tingling on this one because the album title is all wrong. The album cover referenced by the artist is actually called Starboy, and The Weeknd's not holding his head in his hands like on the true cover, he's looking left. Cool as that detail is, there's one detail that really should have tipped music fans off to the fact that this universe is different. Miles has a poster of Chance the Rapper with his number 4 cap on, and that's the rub. The real Chance the Rapper's hat has the number 3 on it. And the reason that matters is because the number 3 has special significance as it represents his third mixtape called Coloring Book. Another fun pop culture shift? Take a look at the massive billboard blanketing that building. From Dusk Till Dawn? In this universe, there was a sequel to the Edgar Wright zombie laugher Shaun of the Dead. You can tell this is a sequel because Nick Frost's character Ed is featured as a fully turned zombie. Did you know that this movie wasn't actually far from becoming a reality? Simon Pegg wrote a pitch for the movie as a joke. Yeah, sure. But still, big movies have been sparked in more absurd ways. This one's completely out of left field. Well, actually left screen. Look left of the Shaun ad in the same shot. There's a video billboard with another ad for a totally absurd film about a jockey played by Seth Rogen. Hold your horses. Yeah, I'm not so sure I want to see that man wielding a riding crop. If you missed it in this scene, you have one more chance in Gwen's montage, but keep an eye out for a very colorful sign that reads Back Rub. Did you know that there is actually a major company that exists who was toying with the idea of using Back Rub for their name? If the colors don't give it away, I will. It's Google. Google was going to be called Back Rub. Don't believe me? Google it. But probably the biggest indication we're not in Kansas anymore lies in the character of Alchemax head scientist Olivia Octavius, voiced by Katherine Hahn. Though she works for Big Bad Kingpin, she's no slouch of a villain herself, as she reveals herself to be our universe's Doc Ock. What's more fascinating, at one point she tells Peter B that her friends call her Liv. Fast forward to the melee at Aunt May's, and when she makes her entrance, Aunt May says, "Oh great, it's Liv." Man, you gotta totally give it up to Lily Tomlin, the voice of May. With one line, she's able to convey a complicated history with her now nemesis. Ock is valuable to Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk, voiced by Liev Schreiber, because it's her work that is going to allow him to reunite-ish with his dead family. You see, in this universe, his wife Vanessa and his son Richard were killed in a car wreck after witnessing him violently beating Peter "No-B" Parker. His plan is to steal Richard and Vanessa from another universe. During the final showdown, we catch a glimpse of the different versions of Vanessa and Richard, and Marvel fans might be interested in one particular shot. Pause it just right in the subway car and you'll see Vanessa and Richard standing on the left side of the screen. Take a close look at Richard and you'll see he's wearing red lens glasses just like Matt Murdock, aka Marvel's Daredevil. This isn't the only Fisk-based Daredevil Easter egg either. If we jump back to Spider-Pine's demise, Daredevil comic fans will see this fatality as a callback to the comic Daredevil Gang War issue 172, where Kingpin avenges his Vanessa's death in much the same way. How about some family issues on the other side of the law? Miles' dad is Officer Jefferson Davis, performed by Brian Tyree Henry. He strives every day to be a good father and a good New York cop. If his license plate is any indication, he's cut from the same primo cloth, however fictitious. The license on his squad car reads RFD 960. If this doesn't ring a bell to you, perhaps you're not a Law & Order fan. A picture car, that is, a car suitable for filming, was featured on the long-running series with the same license number. On the other side of the spectrum sits Uncle Aaron, a less than stellar father figure, but someone who still wants the best for Miles. There's tension between Jeff and Aaron, and it's obvious that they don't talk much. But take a look at their phones. Aaron's lock screen is a picture of Jefferson, and Jeff has saved a picture with Aaron for his caller ID, so there's still love there, however strained. Speaking of phones, when Miles first finds out he has powers, he struggles with the decision of who to call for help. Scrolling through his contacts, Spidey comic book fans might just find a few names amusing, like Sarah Pichelli and Jason Reynolds. Jason Reynolds is a best-selling author who just so happened to write a Marvel book about Miles Morales. As for Sarah, she might as well be Mama Morales, because she is an artist who co-created this character along with the writer Brian Michael Bendis, who also happens to be in Miles' contacts. Of course, no Marvel film would be complete without a cameo from Papa Marvel himself, Stan Lee. It's no secret that Stan is the shop owner who sells Miles his one-size-fits-all, eventually Spider-Man costume. But did you know he shows up a few other times less conspicuously? After Miles and an unconscious Peter B evade the cops, they wind up splattered along a crosswalk while NYC pedestrians walk all over them with little to no consideration. Check out that silver fox on a cell phone. Yup, that's Lee. You're also going to want to keep your finger on the pause button and your eyes glued to the trains. Case in point, during Miles' final monologue, he swings past an elevated train. Pause it just right and you'll find Stan inside. Regardless of the support Miles receives from his parents and Spider friends, Peter B says it best: it's a leap of faith. Only Miles can choose to take that leap for himself, which is what makes his leap from the skyscraper so dramatic. Notice how he shatters the glass? This isn't just some cool effect. It shows how scared Miles is at the moment. He doesn't want to let go, but he pushes himself to let go anyway. Hero. I hope you liked this video and found some rad new details you hadn't seen before in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Make sure you subscribe to Movie Logic for more daily movie facts, trivia, and Easter eggs.